folks. Welcome to the Watchdog Report. I'm your host, Ed Safone, Yorktown Watchdog and President of the United Taxpayers of Yorktown. Tonight's show is going to be on how to save you some money. Okay, so listen, I have a list here. I'm going to read them off. The first thing you have to do is go to the assessor's office and find out all your benefits that you're entitled to. As a senior or a regular person that's not over 65, you have a lot of benefits out there. Let me read some of them off, okay? And this is Yorktown. Assessor's office is at Town Hall. Just go in the door and make a left. All right, the STAR program. That's his program since 1997 to help the people save on their taxes in the school side. Okay, now, if you make under $500,000, you can get 25% off your school taxes. So that's great. If you're a senior and you get enhanced, you can get up to 47%. Now, their limitation has increased to $83,300. So if you make less than that, you can get the enhanced, and that's a lot of money off your taxes. Now, you have a senior exemption. Now, like I told you, you have to go to the assessor's office to find out what you're entitled to. So in Yorktown and Lakeland School District, you have a senior exemption that's based on income. One is $37,000, the other one's $34,000. And if you make less than $29,000, you can get 50% off your school, your county, your town taxes. So that's another good one. And if you're a veteran, you have veteran's exemption. So, and now to introduce my guest, I'm going to tell you how you grieve your tax assessment. Bobbie Ann Cox. Nice to see you again.
Yes, and, nice to see you, Ed.
And congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you.
And the people really need your help now with this assessment because it's coming up soon, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you tell the folks out there, as a real estate law person, how you can save the money.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
absolutely. So basically, I'm an attorney, and what I do, my specialty is property tax grievances, as well as real estate closings. You know, I assist buyers and sellers in purchasing and selling properties. But the important thing I wanted to talk about today are property taxes, because in Westchester County, you know, we are the highest taxed county in the United States of America. And, you know, I get calls on a weekly basis of people saying, look, you know, I'm getting taxed out of my house here. If you can't lower my taxes for me, I'm going to have to sell and move, you know. I mean, Connecticut is right next door. They have much lower taxes. People will retire and leave New York because the property taxes are just outrageous. So,
well, that's what we try to do as United Taxpayers of Yorktown, to keep an eye on that and to lower the taxes, either, you know, in school or town or bond issues or all this stuff. So
yes,
we're right on top of it.
Yes.
But they need you to check out if it's worth it to get their house reassessed.
Right, exactly. Not every single property will have a case for a reduction. So we take a preliminary look. It's a complimentary analysis. We do not charge for the analysis. And we will take a look and see, you know, does this particular house or this particular property have a case for a reduction? And you know, the way that we work is it's a contingency fee, so there's really no risk to the property owner. You know, if we don't think that we are confident we can get them a reduction, then, you know, we will tell them, look, you're properly taxed. But in today's day and age with this market, you know, more and more people are turning to this tool of lowering their property taxes, and it's really, it's important that people understand there is a time frame. So if you're in Westchester County, and specifically Yorktown, because I know you focus in Yorktown, the grievance period for Yorktown and most towns for Westchester County is June 1st. So, you know, it's coming up in a couple of weeks.
By June 1st? Or,
June 1st starts the grievance period, and it runs for 2 weeks.
Okay. So 2 weeks after that.
Yes, yes. Now, if we don't file the papers in that 2-week period, then we have to wait a whole year.
Back the next year.
Yes, you have to go back the next year because by law, you're only allowed to grieve in that time period.
Well, you see, I know we have members of the United Taxpayers that use your services already,
Yes.
and they've saved thousands of dollars
Yes,
already.
yes.
And now I think, I talked to you, in 2 years you can do it again, right? So if you're saving money, you can try to do it again and see if it's feasible.
Right, so how it works is the law provides that if you get a reduction 1 year by going through the whole process with the appeal and going through the courts, you can't immediately go back the following year. So you can go back every couple of years, but of course you have to have a case, you know, every couple of years. Sometimes, you know, you might have a case 1 year and then we lower your taxes, and then you might have to wait a couple more years. Sometimes you have to wait several years before you'll have a case again. It really depends on the market, it depends on your neighborhood, it depends on what town you're in.
Oh, so,
Yes.
'cause I know businesses go back years. Because you know, when they file for certiorarities,
Right.
they can go back, I don't know how many years, and then it's really a big amount.
Well,
If
right, so the
Do
commercial,
you do
yes.
commercial too? Okay.
Yes, we also do commercial tax grievances. The way that commercial works, it's a different law that you operate under, residential versus commercial.
Okay.
The commercial does tend to take a few years to reach a resolution, and you would be entitled to a refund going back to the first year that you started filing. So,
Do you ever find anybody that objects to that stuff? Because it seems like the school and the town, certiorari, they just pay it. I never seen them go to court and challenge any of these people.
oh no, they do. They do. There is, again, for the commercial certioraries, there is one section of the court that governs, because it's a separate law, than the residential. But yes, I'm in court almost every week, going to court for both the commercial properties and the residential properties, to try and fight for my clients. So yes, the municipalities, absolutely, they hire attorneys, they hire outside counsel usually, and they will come to court and
Because I go to the meetings, I never see any certiorari get turned down.
Well,
at the school, they add
you mean
up.
the school board meetings?
Yeah, because they add up.
At that point, it's been right. At that point, it's already gone through their attorneys.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is once the attorney, for a commercial property, once the attorneys have worked out a settlement, it then goes to the municipality and the school board and whatnot for approval. But at that point, the school board is
Sounds like a done deal. Huh?
yes, is not going to challenge their own attorney. You know, they do have an attorney that's in the game. So, yes.
Because that's a big part of the taxes, and when you get taxes reduced from somebody, then somebody else has to make up the difference.
Well,
usually the tax levy, you know.
Right, right. That is somewhat true, and I understand your thought process. But if you think about it the other way, the people that are being overtaxed should have their tax assessment lowered.
No doubt about it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if the budget is therefore adjusted to reflect that, then it doesn't have to get reapportioned to other property owners, right? So instead of a municipality constantly increasing their budget exponentially, and instead of having that property taxes reapportioned to other owners, if they adjust the budget downward to say, hey, we're not having that much revenue, right?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So
rein in your spending to match your income,
well,
which is
that's the key to budgeting. That's it.
Simple economics, right?
But in our town, we have the supervisor been in there 3 years. Started with 51 million, now it's up to 57. So he's carrying maybe over a $5 million surplus.
Right.
So to the tax people, why are you spending so much, and why aren't you using some of the surplus to lower the taxes?
Right,
That's politics. You know,
it's
some wants
definitely,
it,
definitely.
it's
It's politics, and you know what we specialize in at my office is we try and help the property owner stay in their property.
Right. What's the mean?
We try and help them pay what they should be paying, not more than what they should be paying. So it's an excellent tool because a lot of people don't even know that you can get your property taxes lowered.
Exactly.
And how we work is we lower the assessment on the property, which is the number that is designated to that property by the assessor. We lower that number, and then once it's lowered, they end up saving money every year on their taxes because what they do is they take the tax rate per thousand, multiply it by the assessment to calculate the tax dollars. So it's really, it's almost like an annuity.
Yeah, because I never seen anybody go backwards. Like you have it reduced their taxes.
Right.
I don't see them going up. You know, the assessment. Usually, Usually, once you do it, it seems like you keep it at that assessment and you're saving money.
Right.
Until it changes, but I don't think I've ever seen it go the other way.
Well,
maybe you know. Does it go the other way?
Right. That's a great question. That's a great question. So when you grieve your taxes, if your municipality is not at 100% ratio, meaning your property value equals the ratio, if you're not at 100%, then your assessment is not just going to change every year. You have to do something to your property to trigger a reassessment. Like, for example, if you put an addition on your house, or you decide to do something to your home that requires a permit from the town. You know, if your town requires a permit for new windows or a new roof or something like that. Once you finish your work that was issued in your permit,
then the assessment goes
then the town has a right to come out and do a reassessment. Things that enhance the value of your home basically can trigger your assessment to change.
So when I tell people to go to the assessor's office to see what they can get, and the same thing with your business, they should have you to check it out, because they kick themselves in the butt if they haven't done it. And paying taxes all these years. You know, and you hear somebody, I put on a deck, or I'm worried about that, or I put in a fireplace, I'm worried about that. But they shouldn't worry about that until they see the whole picture.
Well, there's, yes, and you know what, you bring up a good point. People, usually you own a home for many years. Or any property, even a commercial property. It's not usually something you buy and then a year later you're out of it. So, you know, I've had many clients say, I've been meaning to call you for ages. You know, it's one thing after the next, and I forget, and this and that, and I miss the deadline. And then they say, but I'm so happy that I did call you, because when they see how much money I can save them, or I do save them, then they start to say, oh my gosh, I should have called you, you know, 5 years ago when I first got your name, you know. So it's something that you should act on, because again, not everybody has a case, but if you do, you could be saving money.
It's the same thing at the STAR program. Now, it's a program to reduce your taxes. Now, if you don't file or do anything, you're really stupid. That's all I get. I get so aggravated when I talk to people. What's the STAR program? What's the STAR program? I said, go to your assessor's office. They'll explain it to you. How old are you? This is what you're entitled to. Wow, this is. And then I don't know if they go or not. And some people just don't go. They're just afraid to go. But in I think it was 1997, when Governor Pataki instituted this stuff. You know, you got to take advantage of anything that can reduce your taxes or beneficial to you.
The STAR program is a state-run program. It's administered under New York state law, and it is for anyone that owns a property in New York State. It does apply to the school tax portion of your taxes. And you know, there are some restrictions. You do need to actually live in that property. You know, if you own 5 properties, let's say, you know, you can only get that STAR on one of your properties, which is your primary
that's why there's
residence.
a lot of fraud going on. That people live in Florida most of the time and use this as a secondary, but they reverse it.
It has to be your primary residence, yes, in order to qualify for the STAR. But the STAR is different from actually grieving your taxes. Two separate things,
two separate laws. Do all those things. That's why I say that when you go in the assessor's office, you bring your income tax form for the previous year, and they usually tell you, well, you're entitled to this, 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 and that, okay? And all you need is your identification, blah, 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 blah. And the thing that happened to me is that once you reach a certain age, in your IRAs you have to take out, then brings up your income.
Yes.
So it knocked me off the enhanced.
Right.
So now I'm back to the basic.
Yes.
So that's a lot of money difference there. So,
Yes, there is a difference between, you
yeah.
know, there are other exemptions. You know, veterans have
Right.
certain exemptions
and
and
then
whatnot.
they keep raising the minimum, I think 83,300. So I guess it's based on Social Security when that gets raised to something. But some people now fall into that category and can get the enhanced.
Right.
So, you know, they have all these requirements. But if you fit the requirements, you should take advantage of whatever it is
Right.
that the government gives you, because they'll take out of one pocket,
Right.
and
Well,
you try to get it back. So.
Right. I mean, the thing with grieving the taxes, you know,
Right, right.
again, the assessment is the key here. And, you know, under the law for a residential property, technically a homeowner can grieve themselves if they want to. They don't have to hire an attorney. With a commercial property, you do need an attorney.
Right.
But, you know, I always say it's like your income taxes. You know, do you want a CPA to do it because this is their profession and they know exactly how they have to work the system to get you in compliance with what they need to do? Same thing with your property taxes. You know, I would say you benefit as a property owner to use an attorney to do that for you, because most times when homeowners try and do a tax grievance themselves, they come to me halfway through the process and they say, hey, look, you know, I filed these papers and that papers, and now, you know, the town is offering me, you know, $1,000, you know, is this a good deal? So they turn the case over to me, and many times I end up getting them a few $1,000s in savings, as opposed to just, you know, the original offer that was made, because, you know, it's if you don't do this for a living, it can be confusing and it can be something that's a challenge, and that's why I think it's always a good idea to contact an attorney and try and get a professional opinion on it.
Yeah. And like you said, highest taxes in the nation. Then Yorktown, it just keeps going up. It used to be like spending, maybe it was a couple of $100,000. Now it's a couple of million.
Right.
So that's killing everybody. So even if people didn't complain before, get up and start complaining.
Right.
Because they just got their tax bill in April.
Yes.
What is going on here? What happened? You said you were going to do this and that.
Right.
And it's funny, there's only a few people like myself and the United Taxpayers that question all these things, you know? And sometimes we get some stuff done. Otherwise, they just do what they want to do. So it's they have a tentative budget that comes out by the supervisor. It's a lot less, so that sounds good. Then you negotiate with the departments and everything else. Then they have a preliminary budget, which is, whew. And now we just found out if they have a preliminary budget, no matter what, if the board members voted down, it's still the preliminary budget. So it's like useless. You can't even vote on it.
Yes, it can be very, it can be very confusing, the world of property taxes and budgets and whatnot.
I don't know if you hear that, but he's playing with the. Sooner or later he's going to get it fixed. I know. And when I go, that's then when it comes on. Yeah. So. So that's important. And at the end of the show, the last minute, we'll make sure you tell them your name and where you're.
Of course,
all the stuff like that.
Yeah.
So in Yorktown, have you had anybody in Yorktown? I know maybe from the UTY. I know there's a few people.
Yes, we definitely do a lot of work in Yorktown.
Oh, okay, good.
We do a lot of work in all over Westchester County, really. We do also go up into Putnam and over into Rockland, so we are in this area, and it's really something that, you know, whether you're a young couple just starting out buying a home, or you've been in your home for 40, 50 years, it's a tool that I think everybody should really look at and consider, because every single property is different. You can have two properties right next to each other that have very different assessments, very different taxes, but that could be warranted. So it's just every parcel is unique, and it's hard to try and justify the taxes unless you're in the system and you understand. That's why it's always great to, you know, pick up the phone, give me a call. I'm happy to answer questions and go over the process. It's
So where did you find in Westchester the taxes are more reasonable? Have you ever?
You know, that's a great question. That's
Good.
a great question. I would say the larger cities tend to have, excuse me, tend to have more reasonable taxes. When you get into towns and villages, their tax base, they're smaller in size,
right,
so their tax base is smaller.
Some of them haven't been assessed, I know, for years sometimes.
Haven't been reassessed in years. Right, right.
Now that was another thing I know a while back, they wanted to reassess everybody in Westchester County.
Right.
And I think it was 3 or 4 places did that. And for a couple of years, their taxes went up and up. I think now it's finally leveled off. But I haven't heard that again from the county or anything like that. So.
Right, right. A countywide reassessment, I think for political reasons, it died.
Yeah.
But some, like you said, some of the towns in Westchester County either have done a revaluation or are currently doing a revaluation. And yes, that is causing my phone to ring quite more violently because people are seeing, they're calling me up. My taxes just jumped 15%. You know, what's going on here? Or my taxes just jumped 17%. You know, what's going on here? So people are seeing their taxes going up as a result of the revaluations, and they are concerned and obviously upset.
Yeah, and that goes, the equalization rate is another thing that people have to look at in their town with the assessment, and the taxes go up. So it's funny that the higher, if I understand this, equalization rate, the lower you pay taxes. So that means that, the best thing is a stable community where you not have too much business or too many residential new buildings come in and stuff like that. So I know ours is like 2.77. Used to be less than 1% or something like that. So it's but we have an equal, well, not really an equal base of business and town and residents. So, but that it's so many things with the numbers.
Right.
And
Well,
it's so hard to understand sometimes.
Right. They have different ratios for residential versus commercial, and
and then
again,
it changes every year.
It changes every year. It's issued by the state. It's something that, again, it's a confusing area
That's what they want
of
to
law.
need you. That's why they need you and see what the benefit is.
Yes. And if you have a question, hey, am I overtaxed? A lot of people don't even know how to tell if they are overtaxed. They just see their tax bill and they see the numbers going up, and so that's why it's always a good idea to call and find out.
Right. Well, that was the other thing. People have a mortgage. They don't even know what the taxes are going up and stuff like that. So
right. If
they should.
Absolutely.
And compare every year what's happening.
Absolutely. A lot of people, like you said, because their mortgage bank is paying the property taxes and it gets escrowed every month from their payment, they don't even really know exactly what are my property taxes. So it's something that people should take a minute, pull out those files and say, well, what was I paying last year in taxes? What am I paying this year in taxes?
And why the difference is one way.
And does this number seem large to me? It's definitely it's a tool that a lot of people, I think, today are starting to use because they see, hey,
gotta find a way to keep your house.
This is right.
Yeah,
a lot of people can't, at this point, especially seniors. A lot of seniors are on fixed budgets.
Right.
So as their taxes are going up increasingly more and at larger percentages than their retirement, it's very hard to make that work.
Well,
one's up here and one's down here.
Right.
It's
that's why I mentioned the senior exemption for town, county, and school taxes. Now, it's really hard to live in Westchester County making under $29,000 total income. But some seniors have been retired, and that's what happens, okay?
Right.
They fall into this other category, and it's like prorated from 50% all the way down to 5%. And that's even better than the STAR, because it's guaranteed if you meet those qualifications, it's 50% off of those 3 taxes. That's a lot. That's a lot of benefit.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That's why I say it over and over. Anytime where out in the public, maybe community day, I bring this board with me.
Right.
And then I give them your number,
Right.
okay, and stuff like that. So if you don't do it, it's just really doesn't make any sense.
Right. People in
I don't know what they're worried about.
Right. Well, property owners in Westchester in particular should really pay attention at this point in time because, again, the first 2 weeks of June is the grievance period for most of the towns, excuse me, and cities in Westchester. Every town and city, they have their own grievance period, but most of the towns and most of the cities in Westchester, it's the first 2 weeks in June. So this is a perfect time. Pick up the phone, give me a call.
But they have a special group of people that does the assessments. Now,
Pardon
you know, there's a group of people that look at that from the towns, and I forget what town it was, but the 6 people were paying very little taxes because they were fraudulent. They were on that committee, and they just didn't put the right assessments down for their own. There was 6 of them, I remember. I can't remember. I think it was up north somewhere. But I don't know. We have it in Yorktown. I think there's 4 or 5 people on the assessment roll. I don't know, committee.
Yes, every municipality that has their own assessment roll has what's called a Board of Assessment Review.
Board of Assessment. Okay, there you go.
And the members of the Board of Assessment Review will, they're the first step in the process. So you have to go to them first, and then if you're denied, you appeal to the court.
Okay. Well, Bobbie Ann, look at camera 3. He's going to light the camera up.
Okay.
And now fill him in, your name, where you're located, your telephone number, and he'll have the graphics up there, okay?
Okay, excellent. Great. So my name is Bobbie Ann Flower-Cox, and I am in Bronxville, New York. I'm a real estate attorney, and I'm happy to help you with your property taxes. I also do real estate closings. My telephone is 914-779-7762. You can also find me on the web. I'm at www.coxlawyers.com. And the time to grieve your property taxes is coming up, so please give us a call. Let's see if we can help you out.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're going to put this on YouTube in about a week or so.
Great.
So that's good. We also have our website, yorktownopengov.net now, and we have all the shows on and all the information about each town, school, and how these people can look at the assessor's office and how to save money.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
we've been doing that pretty good now. So I've been around for a long time. So
yes, I know.
Listen, I want to thank you for coming again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Congratulations for number 3.
Yes.
And what's his name again?
Baby number 3, Braden.
Braden.
Yes.
Braden. Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can't believe that I've been married now 49 years.
Congratulations.
And my oldest son is 48. And every 3 years going down, so that's pretty amazing.
Yes, congratulations
so
to you.
I feel really good. So, and now I'm getting back into shape.
Absolutely.
So,
you look great.
Thank you.
You look great.
Yeah, so, you know, getting up there. All right, Dennis, let's close the show off. Thanks, Bobbie Ann Cox, for being here. And listen, you watch this show, take down that numbers, you said it over and over again, and give her a call and see if you can save money, okay? Otherwise, give me a call and I'll give you the numbers and the advice. But also go down to the assessor's office to see what benefits you're entitled to. Thank you for watching and good night.